Springer Nature. And I'm here to just introduce the session today, and then to moderate a little bit. If things get out of hand with all these marketers in the room, I'm here to moderate the discussion. What you've come to see is three different people talk about how marketing is not a four-letter word and how vendors can help you increase your impact. The first speaker is going to be Melanie Masserin over on the far side. She works for Springer Nature. The next presenter will be Larry Grodsky, who works for Cambridge University Press. Finally, Christy Wilfong will speak about her experiences, and she's from Bates College. And with that, I will turn it over to the crew.
Okay. All right, to begin, everyone can hear me okay, great. We had a large pharma customer that owned our full ebook collection but had very low usage. So to remedy this, the librarian and the account development rep collaborated on a marketing campaign to promote the full collection to their users. And so for this to be a success, the librarian needed to identify 9 key research areas that their R&D team were focusing on, such as neurology and dermatology. They took top 10 relevant ebooks and just put it in a simple Word document highlighting the titles, hyperlinks, the covers, and the summary. And then the librarian's job was to push this marketing collateral to the heads of their R&D departments to kind of get them to use the content that is located on the company's intranet. And the result with the usage was really great. So it was implemented in March, and within the first full month of implementing this campaign, it resulted in a 508% increase. So really, it was a matter of the users, really needed this content. They just weren't fully aware. So when you have a pharma client with different R&D heads, it's kind of like the librarian needs to kind of collaborate with the publisher on finding ways to get to these users. So as you see, it really brought attention to the content, and in that first month, they got great usage. But throughout the year, usage stayed quite steady. All right, and moving on. Right, and platform demos and database trainings also help impact usage. So the past 2 years, I've participated in Canadian Science Literacy Week at the University of Victoria. And there I'll do instructional sessions for graduate students and show them platform searches on Springer Link, as well as different features on the platform like the full ebook download, as well as the option for my copy where a user has that option to purchase the entire print ebook, and also showed them our new feature we have called Book Metrics. And at the University of Alberta, I coordinated a Springer Materials database training for their chemistry department. And so for this, I created several promotional materials that the chemistry librarian used to blast to faculty to get in their faculty newsletters to get, make sure that faculty were going to get students to attend the training as they had bought the database 6 months prior to the training. And usage wasn't bad, but it could be better. So with that, I kind of acted as a liaison between our product manager, who actually did the training, and the on-site librarian, who kind of facilitated this training with the person who did the demonstration and the faculty and the students who came in for the training. And finally, producing summits is another successful example of end user marketing engagements. So on behalf of Springer Nature, I developed a professional development session for librarians in and around the Columbus, Ohio area. In that area, you have Ohio State University. A couple hours away, you have Ohio University, and then there's several smaller colleges around there. So we felt like this is a good location where we could reach a lot of librarians in that area. So we found a keynote speaker from Ohio Link who graciously agreed to kind of provide the kickoff keynote for the session. And then we featured presentations from speakers from Ohio University and Franklin University. So we had some sessions on user experience in the library catalog and ways librarians can help teach more about evaluating news sources. In the end, say the sessions really gave an opportunity for Ohio Link members to come together, have open-ended discussions, and just really get that chance to interact with Ohio Link and Springer Link. So, and that's all, and I'm going to pass this over to Larry.
Hey everybody, thanks for sticking with us. We know it's late in the day. I'm going to be talking about workshops, generally kind of positioned for faculty and students. And I will be using the royal we to refer to my marketing colleagues, and if anybody wants to disagree with anything I have to say, please reserve those for the questions. Just about any publisher, any vendor that you're working with will be able to offer you some kind of standard workshop, how to get published, but we're also developing our portfolio as time goes on. And if the last few days are any evidence, you guys are really interested in blockchain. We are too. We are rapidly trying to figure out the right people from Cambridge to put something together that we can offer to faculty and librarians to talk about the implications for blockchain and peer review and how it fits in with the entire kind of academic publishing ecosystem. What about constructing a preprint server or an institutional repository? We like that too. So we were rapidly putting together ideas on how to kind of cohesively present something on the implications and the realities and the machinery that goes into building one of those out. Navigating open access publishing? Totally. We have a lot of presence at Cambridge in open access publishing. We're an advocate for open access publishing, and we have a lot of authors we're working with that are kind of attempting to sharpen their skills, get back on campus. And another one, we're also looking into doing more kind of vendor days, appreciation days. I'm working with a colleague in Mexico City right now with our largest customer in Mexico to do a customer appreciation day. We're looking to bring down, senior management from the press, our open access experts, some authors, and having a whole day's worth of events and talking about everything that we offer and everything that the university offers and kind of highlighting our partnership with them. And I should also mention that with other publisher marketing people in the room, we're always happy to work with other folks. I've been many places. Other marketers have as well, and we're always happy to collaborate. Driving usage, driving engagement with content. We know that librarians don't really care if it's just for one vendor, one publisher. A little bit of usage across of a subject area will raise all of us up. So I think you'll find that most vendors, most publishers are happy to kind of collaborate with each other and work together on things. So we're also kind of expanding and refining the tried and true workshops that you've probably seen a lot of. So what would you expect from a publisher? How to publish, how to choose the right publisher, how to work with peer review, how to network and use social media. We just did one at Rice last month. It was a 2-day event. We brought our book editor in Byzantine Studies. He did a day of, the first day was talking about how to publish, how to choose the right publisher, how to write a manuscript. And then the next day, he made himself available for half-hour slots with anybody on the campus that wanted to talk through their manuscripts, talk about their proposals. And you'll also find that most editors at most presses are really happy and willing to make that kind of time on campus and kind of interact with folks that could eventually bring a book proposal to them. We're also happy to kind of find the right person and who would be best positioned to deliver it. I had a conversation last week with somebody who, it started about talking about American history, but then it was, well, actually, we're really interested about oil exploration in historical California. And now I'm busily working my way through our portfolio to find out if you have an author who might fit that bill. We also have lots of pre-made stuff that you don't even have to talk to your vendor for. So, if you go to anybody's platform, you go to library and resources, you'll probably find dozens of presentations that have to do with the aforementioned topics. If you like them, we'll let you link to them. If you like them a lot, we'll co-brand them for you. If you don't like them, we'll change them for you. And it's really just, we're looking for librarians' lead and how to kind of craft these resources to make sure that they're as useful as to you as possible. We can also run them as webinars. We're getting better at that. Facebook Live, Twitter Q&A, why not? And most of what I've been referencing here would be editorial driven, but as a publisher, we also have lots of other folks that we can make available. So if you want to do what's it like to work in publishing day, we have production editors and peer review administrators and sales reps and whoever you would possibly conceive of wanting to have to come to your campus from a publisher. Your marketing person in libraries would most likely do whatever they can do to make that happen. Don't ever think you have something too obscure or too niche. You've probably heard it before. With that, I'll pass to Christy.
Okay. I think we missed one of your slides.
Oh. Yeah.
But I'll start it here. So I wanted to give you guys some context before I go into an event that we did on our campus, because I think it's very important to know the context before you get into it. And at Bates College, we are a small liberal arts school. I put our student population and our faculty population, which I want you to note that number. It's 190. That includes our tenure track faculty, our tenured faculty, as well as our visiting and part-time faculty that teach at our institution. We are located in the second largest city in the state of Maine, but if you saw it, you wouldn't think that. It is very remote. We are kind of away from a lot of things, and I thought a great way to show that would be with mileage. So for us, a closest city is Boston. It's 144.2 miles to get to Boston, and my colleagues would say that's a day trip. You can go there and come back. It's a long day, but you can do it. New York is another city. It's a little further than that. It's 345.7 miles away. I would not want to have to do that in one day. I wouldn't do that. I would have to stay over. So that's another, inhibiting. You wouldn't want to do something like that. You probably don't have the funding to do something like that. So a few months back, I was approached by Cambridge University, my rep from Cambridge University, and we were chatting, and it was brought up the idea of doing some kind of campus event. And I am not only the collections librarian, but I'm also our scholarly communications librarian, the first that we've ever had. So I'm really kind of creating a new thing on our campus. If anybody is familiar with scholarly communications, it's really hard to explain what that is, especially to our faculty. They kind of question, they don't even know what collection management is too, but the realization is that they don't really know what that is. So we need to give them like concrete examples. So the idea presented was to do an author workshop. And in author workshops, it's mainly an editor from a press comes in, and usually it's to discuss like how to publish a journal article, but we're a small liberal arts school. We don't have graduate students. Our faculty have published in journals. They already kind of know how to do that. I was really interested to see if they would be willing to do some kind of event where it was, how do you publish a monograph? How do you publish a book? Their tenure track. We have a lot of junior faculty that need to publish, but this is not something that they're taught in school. Many times it's something that if you have a good mentor, they can tell you what they did and not to do, that kind of thing. So to have somebody come to campus, it was something that was really beneficial to our junior faculty. So I think the event itself that we hosted was successful due to two reasons. The content of the event but also the scheduling. Scheduling is a huge thing, and you have to get it right, or else you have nobody in the audience. So for content, we had senior editor Robert Driesen from Cambridge University Press. He's an editor for political science and sociology, but I don't think that's the most important part. I think it can be any subject, and when he presented, it wasn't solely focused on that. It was, how can anybody publish with Cambridge? That's, Cambridge and Oxford are like the two big ones that our faculty want to publish with. They want to hear from the editor that they see at the conferences. So having him there with his knowledge, teaching to our junior faculty that need to publish in order to even stay there, was really beneficial. And then it comes down to scheduling. So we had it on Thursday, September 28th, 2017 at 4:15 p.m. And that's really important. On our campus, we have common hours, and we have events called Faculty Commons. They take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays, either at noon or 4:15. Noon, because they usually don't have classes at lunchtime, and 4:15 because that is after the last class of the day. So we can get more people to actually attend. We also had, for this event, our Dean of the Faculty on board with us. They were actually really excited for us to be able to do this. They had no idea we could do this, and they were on board with that. We posted the event to our faculty listserv. That gets a lot of people, a lot of eyes on the event. I did receive a lot of notes. I noticed that this was a very interested event for a lot of our faculty, in that I got responses back to my emails to the void of, the listserv. Some people couldn't actually come, and they wanted to know if it could be taped because it's something that they were really interested in. And although we couldn't get that done in enough time, I did do a Google document, and with links and everything. That's the power of Google. We're a Google school, and we were able to submit that to whomever wasn't there. I sent it directly to them, but then I also sent it to the listserv. So for the people that were quiet but still wanted to know, could have it. I also think it's important that, this event was a success for our campus. We had 30 plus faculty. Before I showed you how many faculty that we have there, some of which are visiting, some of which aren't there full time. So that number is really high for us. It was also 9 months after I started at Bates, and it really gave me some solid footing. It explained to our faculty what scholarly communication is and how the library can help in things such as publishing, copyright, and all that kind of stuff. But it solidified my name for them as well. It got my name out there, and what I really appreciated is our assistant dean of the faculty got a lot of the praise on this event, but she forwarded them all to me, saying that it wasn't her, it was actually the library. So I was really excited by that as well. I think it's very important to have these conversations with your vendors. Like, they're there to help you, and they can bring events like this onto your campus. In future, one thing that I would say is faculty have a lot of questions, and we only allocated an hour and a half for this event. I probably should have put it to 2 hours. That probably would have been better. I also would have scheduled through the day of the visit one-on-one sessions. So half-hour visits with the editor, that would have been another thing that I would add onto an event such as this. But it was a great success for our campus and a great way to work with vendors.
So this is where I come back up and stimulate some conversation. We have a little bit of time to talk about this subject. I'm guessing that probably you have done something interesting at your institution, or if you're a publisher or vendor, you've done something interesting along these lines. Anytime during this last bit, please come up to the microphone and let other people in the room know what you've done so that they can get some benefit of having this group together. I will say one other thing that's come about from my experience is that I find that libraries, academic libraries, as Christy was saying, she was better known after this event. She was better known on campus. The library was better known for having brought an event to campus that was beneficial to the campus. And that's actually a major part of why publishers and vendors like to work with libraries on events on the campus. Of course, it's partially because our name is on the campus for a period of time, but it's also because it strengthens the library's position on the campus. And for a publisher or an aggregator or somebody who does business with libraries, the idea of the library being stronger on the campus is important to us. And to that end, I can report very good results on supporting library research. And what does that really mean? That means that sometimes libraries want to do surveys on their campus, surveys about interests, surveys about all kinds of things. And we've had success kind of providing some sponsorship for that kind of research, whether it be use of certain things or other things. And it's been actually useful to do that. The library gets some sponsorship, maybe some incentives for people to answer the surveys and things like that. From us, and we get the benefit of working with the library on that. Sometimes in the past, I've spun off a white paper about the findings from the survey, so the survey gets a wider audience than just the campus. But in any case, my first question to you and to the panel and whoever would like to speak up about it is, if you had a particular resource, and you just doesn't have to be anything in particular, could be music, could be videos, could be some service that you had on your campus. If it had been seeing, could be books, journals, whatever. You'd been seeing it had steady, good use for a few years, and then you looked at it again, and over the last 3 or 4 months, it had just started going down, just down. What would be your first feeling about why that happened? Why would you think that would happen? Anybody in the audience have an idea? I want to speak up about that. What would you think first? What would you think first about that situation? Just a little louder. Okay, so something happened on the campus in terms of that research just kind of didn't happen. In a corporation, the equivalent would be that project just dropped off. We're not working on that project anymore. Okay, so, or somehow department lost faculty that were working on that research. Okay, so the actual use relates directly to the people, users on campus. Any other reasons why that might happen that you can think of? Okay, something in the discovery layer happened, maybe. Something maybe beyond your control. Okay. Okay, would you also be concerned about things within your control? Yeah, maybe. Okay, but the point is that you went technical. Something. It didn't drop off because people woke up on the other side of the bed and said, "I don't like neuroscience anymore." It's more like something technical. Okay. Anybody else with an idea about that? Yeah.
So I guess I would say that in small liberal arts colleges, that happens all the time.
Okay. Okay.
So it's coursework,
Yes.
faculty research, the timing. So in general, unless it's a sustained pattern of change, I don't worry about it.
So if it's just a
Might be every
3-month dip, just doesn't mean much, right? It's not the right semester for that course
or even that product.
or even that product.
Whole
Okay.
database of products.
Okay. So those kind of dips are common. It would have to be like quite a bit more drastic than that. Okay. All right.
Feedback
Okay. Okay, let me, okay, so, all right. Just not offered, just not being done at that time. So we've got some technical stuff, we've got some, organic stuff that's not happening on the campus anymore. Okay, what some of these folks are kind of geared up to do is trying to figure out what happens in these situations. What if it was, what if it was a big university that had really big use, and then it started to go off, as opposed to the small college kind of situation, a big university that's not used to dips like that? What would you think? What would you think then? Something, yeah.
Perhaps we had not as widespread use as anticipated. There was one group or one reason that was penetrating a lot.
Okay.
I'd also say that there's a possibility, like say, IT fall dramatically, it falls off.
Okay. So a small kind of, group of maybe super users, or even one big user of just wasn't there anymore. Okay. Well, I mean, the reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a lot of things that go into marketing, or considering the option of marketing in the academic sector, that are different than usual. I think we live with, this idea that there's technical things, there's curriculum things. Before we resort to marketing, sometimes we look at all these other things. But let's say that you realize that actually it was more because visibility was a problem. And you suspected that people just didn't know about this good resource. So what happens then? What kind of marketing would you consider appropriate? And would any of it involve going to whoever the resource provider was and saying, come on, any ideas about that? You've heard some. By the way, if you have any questions, excuse me? Right, so let's say it was, a portfolio of electronic books that you bought, and it cost you a lot. Let's just say a lot, okay, as opposed to little one-off purchases. It was a pretty substantial purchase for you. So does that mean, would you put it in a ratio? The more it cost us, the more investment it is, the more likely we would market? Is that what, yeah. Okay. And what kind of marketing might that be if you'd made a big investment? Would you go to faculty? If it was, let's say, fairly high-level ebooks, would you go to faculty? Would you try to promote to students? Would you go to grad students? Would you put things on the website? Would you rely on your library website, or would you try to do more than that? I kind of realize that libraries don't have all the time in the world for marketing. I don't think it's the case that you necessarily do. But
Can I make a comment?
yeah, please do.
So with marketing, as a librarian, right, it's not always in our job description, but when you see usage falling, or you've, again, invested a lot of money in a resource and you want to see it succeed, you look for options, but you have to find out what option is going to be a good use of your time. And I think for me personally, and this is just my opinion, I like to see if other people can do the work. And that's why when I go to conferences, I do chat up my vendors, my reps, to see if there's anything that interests me enough to look into a little bit further. So for example, the author workshop really sparked an interest in me because I knew how I could adopt that on our campus. It made sense. So if, let's say, a demo of a product doesn't really make sense to you, it's, oh, well, the platform's intuitive. You shouldn't have to demo the product. Maybe there's something else that vendor offers, or maybe you can even suggest something to that vendor for, I'm trying to think of an example, but another use of the vendor, like the author workshop, it's not a product, right? It's not the ebooks or whatever. They're a publisher, and my faculty need to publish. So I'm going to use that as a way to market the fact that we do have Cambridge ebooks. So if you publish with Cambridge, everybody at this institution within our IP range will have access to that and be able to view it. So that could drive usage. For an example such as that, we can easily put up a blog post and kind of point to that direction, but we want to capture people in a room to have that conversation. So it's one example. It's to reiterate, if you don't have time, other people can do the work. It has helped me, and I kind of live and die by that, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting some stuff going here. Have people heard there is a listserv, right? A PR in libraries listserv. I can't remember the exact thing, but I do follow it. It seems to have a lot to do with public libraries, though. They seem to be having to promote the heck out of themselves all the time in the public library sphere. So I look at that sometimes. Also, I'd like to ask you if consortia have any role in this. If a consortia negotiated a great deal for you on a certain product, is there a role for them to help you promote it or not? I've spoken at one consortium's annual virtual meeting that they have. I don't think the Lyricist people would care if I said their name. And that was useful. They asked me to talk about some usage study that I'd done and some discovery study that I'd done, which I was glad to do. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if people that are interested in marketing here at the end of the day. Go ahead. Any more questions for our crew or any ideas? Go ahead. Yep.
I think one big issue is whether it's a subscription and it's going to come up for renewal again, and if it's a database, and if you're paying $25,000 a year for it,
Yeah.
or whatever, and you didn't reach your plateau, and maybe you were responding too few, you're not a significant enough demand for it, or you didn't market it up. But, the idea is not that how long can you have to do that. And that's
Right.
the situation. You've got to do it from the time of the trial, from the time you log in, start the access until you really build it up to see if it's sustainable.
Hmm.
You may get lost interest after the trial, and you still plugged it in, and you don't have to use the community for it.
Okay.
So, there's lots of things that contribute, but you need to really know that you're going to use for assignments, and you're going to use in your research studies.
Mhm.
How sustained an interest is this? Or was it, I did what I needed to do, I gave my input, I put it out there in the trial, and I'm done.
And you're done, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about the specialty resources, like say a database that had something to do with physics or material science, or you purchased a special thing. Would you ask your selector or liaison to that department to actually be in charge of the marketing from trial on out? Is that a yes? Would you do it that way, or is there somebody else who would be trying to market whatever you were either trying to purchase or?
How many libraries use social media as an enhanced communication and blogs and other tools to get the word out to user communities? We have a marketing and communications unit that's swamped with other library events and
Right.
marketing products. But we're really trying to explore how to do this.
Yeah.
I'm still here for ideas about take on.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to get some. Yeah. Yeah, might try the microphone, yeah. Sorry, I should have been telling everybody that. But.
Jackie Prince from the New England Journal of Medicine, and we have as I'm sure many publishers do, a library website where we're constantly throwing up ideas for things that we're doing that are new, that people can promote. I think, I'm not in the trenches there, but I think that we also have outgoing communications to librarians with assets that they can use on their own websites or send them through email or whatever means they may have. We have a librarian advisory board who I know makes use of that material. It kind of depends probably on the relationship you have between the librarian and the publisher. But we're, as a publisher, we of course want usage to be as high as possible. So we're constantly trying to feed the machine. Whether the institutions and libraries make use of that is up to them, obviously. But I think as publishers, it's really incumbent on us to provide the materials and provide the
As
information.
much material, yeah, as many different ideas as we can. And I think part of the message today is that, you know, if you just reach out a little to your publishers or providers, you might get a whole bunch of rich information. Now we got some people. Come on.
Marilyn Fordyce from the University of Otago. I'm not sure if I can reach that. Our students don't have time for a 2-day workshop. So what we use are LibGuides, sort of like subject pages that are maintained by library staff. And if we had a product that wasn't getting much use, maybe it's no longer relevant, but actually we would promote it. We'd have a special little section on that LibGuide to promote that product. And what we look for are brief YouTube clips that will take 5 minutes max. We did have one of the Nature editors come and give a presentation at our university on how to get published, filled a massive lecture theatre. Postdocs, postgrads, you know, new young academics filled the room. It was fantastic. It was one of the best sessions we've had. Yeah, with Nature. Yeah.
Could
They all
you
want it.
say your school again? I'm not sure everybody heard
You've
where
never
you.
heard of it. University of Otago, New Zealand.
Oh no, my daughter went there
Oh,
for a
okay.
semester, so that's okay. Yeah, I know where that is.
Hi guys, I'm Sarah from AIP Publishing. Being in publishing for quite a while and doing marketing and account development and supporting librarians, I've found a hurdle to be able to get over is what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So do librarians come to us and say, hey, we want help? Or do we go to you and say, what can we do for you? This is more so for the panel, but I'm happy for everybody to answer it. As publishers, do we take that proactive, or have you experienced where you take that step and say, hey, I've looked at this, I've seen this, I need to act on this before our customers come to us and they need our support? Personally, I've done both, but I kind of want to get the perspective of you guys.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, like most of those interactions go when I do have a captive audience of librarians at an advisory board or something like that. What can we do for you? What do you need? How can we help you drive usage in this area, this subject, this product? And most of it amounts to, I don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, we send out a lot of email.
Yeah.
We do a lot of social media. We make a lot of canned presentations. And I guess, like, from my point of view, the biggest issue is reaching the target audience, right? So, like, some of the more advanced kind of like social media tools are, I mean, they're a little bit creepy, but they're allowing you to drop a pin on a map and you can target a campus. So there's a reasonable expectation that what we're pushing out is being seen by who we want them to see. But I find in a lot of situations, we kind of need to partner with the librarian, whether it's in a workshop, whether it's in some kind of other activity, to either, you know, we're either amplifying their message in, you know, our ways of marketing, or we need to put something together that the librarian can then put out to their constituents that takes the burden of creation off of a librarian, but we still need access to that
Other
target
people,
audience
yeah.
somehow.
And to add to that, I would say a lot of times I'll do webinars with consortia, and it's often that, you know, they haven't come to us and say, I need help marketing this. It's often as they forget, what do we have? It's always a reminder of, this is the content that you have, and we already have, you know, marketing collateral that, you know, I can help you put together and promote on your library website or send and put into like faculty newsletters. But I think it's on the publisher side, the more that we can offer up front, I think is more beneficial, because a lot of times librarians are so busy, they say, you know, I'd like to get to that, but this came up. So I think they find that it's the fact that we already have stuff made to be useful, but I think doing webinars when you have like a large consortia, you have all the members together, is always a great way for members just to be reminded of what they actually have with the publisher.
Yeah, what they've purchased.
Yeah, do you find though that knowing that you have the tools available and that the librarians know they can go there, they can go to your resource page and they have access to it, but have you taken steps where you can outright, I don't want to say circumvent, but go straight to the users and push their access in the sense of, hey, don't forget you have access? And is that appreciated on the librarian side? I have the flip side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate knowing everything that's going out to my users.
Okay.
I don't think that I really do not think it's kosher to sell things to our faculty that are, I think it's under the same umbrella. I don't want vendors to go out there without my knowing that they're doing it.
It's
So
not
that-
necessarily selling, and I'm sorry to cut you off,
Oh,
but
yeah,
more
no,
of
no,
just
no.
saying you have access to this.
Yes,
to-
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
very important because I will hear about it eventually. And I think it's very important to involve the library in anything that you do on the campus because we're going to be the ones that they have questions.
Yeah.
That's fair.
We have time for one more question.
Well, now I feel like I'm just kind of piggybacking off of what everybody said. But hi, my name is Danielle Griffin. I work for Taylor and Francis, and I'm a marketing manager. So to reiterate kind of to the concern for librarians, I can speak for our publishing company that we have a specific vertical that is designated to the librarians. So my job is exclusively to make your job easier by supporting you with any sort of collateral or any sort of collaboration to market, to promote usage and awareness of the products, whether it's from student engagement to graphics, social media, anything. I mean, and the more that we collaborate with you, then it also makes your job easier as well as gives us more understanding of your school particularly.
Good. Okay, I want to close with just two small notes. I don't suppose anybody from Montana State is in the room. Okay, so I have to do one pitch for them. There's a project that they've done called Open Sesmo, SESMO, and I'd suggest you look into that. It's search engine social media optimization, done at Montana State to basically enrich the description of all the special databases they have at Montana State with all kinds of information, including the fact that that database is at Montana State, specifically designed to have things like somebody types in InSpec and they're living in Bozeman. Sure enough, higher up on the Google result list is InSpec at Montana State. Click here on the Google results. It's very effective. It's been very useful for Montana State. It's something that you can do technically, and it has a direct effect, and they've showed how the usage goes up. They paired that with certain types of social media work, okay, where they pair it up at that time. They double punch it with more information about that database that goes out by social media. The combination of things happening on the internet at the same time has driven their users kind of back from the Google social media world, back into their databases. And sure enough, they have the full text access because they're really Montana State people. Anyway, take a look at that in the literature. I think you'll find it very interesting, and it's had some very tangible results for them. It is a little technical, but not beyond any of you. The other thing is, when you said LibGuides, I immediately thought of an earlier conversation at this conference where people said, you know what, we're making sure our LibGuides show up higher in our web scale discovery results. So if somebody's searching something about nanotechnology and you happen to have a LibGuide about nanotechnology, it actually, when they search the Library Discovery Service, it's maybe some articles about nanotech, and then right there, maybe above the fold, is the LibGuide that you have for your library on nanotechnology. So if you do get people using the Discovery Service, you at least give your LibGuides a chance. And my experience is sometimes the LibGuides don't get nearly enough use. They don't get the use they deserve. But if you promote them in Discovery, maybe they will. You have,
Service, my library doesn't use it, but many of my colleagues have had experienced some really positive feedback is with browsing.
Browsing.
It's another place that lifts.
Yep, lifts up your resources and helps people keep track of their favorite journals. Table of contents alerts are a great way to accelerate the use of journals on the campus. Listen, I want to thank our panel very much and thank you for being here today. Thank you.